The Wanderland project is well underway. I'm thinking through how I want to build shelters and structures that are habitable, aesthetically pleasing, durable enough to hold up against the North Georgia weather, and most importantly, sustainably designed. So I'm headed over to the Dominican Republic to meet with my good friend Neal Petersen. What a beautiful journey to paradise. Hello, internet folk. We're here at Casa de Fuego.
Yes, and I want to say, Jonathan, welcome back to our tropical paradise here in Dominican Republic.
I cannot stay away. I love it here. It is paradise. So we got the Wanderland project that we talked about last time, building it now in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Georgia. And, as we think about the construction and how we're going to kind of pull it off, of course, everything's got to be in a sustainable way. We want to make it as minimally invasive to the land and keeping our footprint as low as possible. So there's nobody else that I think of to talk to when we talk about developing a lot of land in a sustainable way than you, my friend. And that's why I'm here. Spoiler alert, I wanted to pick your brain about some ideas about what we can do to make this thing really cool.
Well, one of the things is the land has to speak to you, because you have to feel at one with nature. You are bringing guests to have an experience. They're going to be coming and staying, and so when they stay, what are they going to see? What are they going to feel? What are the memories they're going to take away from them? What's going to make this unique? And that is one of the first elements of how are we going to make this? How are you going to make that happen?
Right. So we have some pretty cool ideas. One of the things that we want to do is make this a little bit above just this primitive camping, but well below glamping, right? And so we're going to be in that space there where you see that we are manipulating the land around us, but we're not doing it so that we're not trying to make it a hotel out in the middle of the land. It's still going to be roughing it, but we're going to still be able to really embrace natural living, being out under the land.
Well, there are lots of different ways, and for one is to keep it small and keep it simple. And I love the idea of a platform and a tent, and just being a part of the nature and feeling the elements of the nature. When it's a rainy day, you've got the rain coming in. When it's a snowy day, you feel the powder dropping on the tent. When it's a sunny, hot day, we are so disconnected in our world today from Mother Nature. We are living in climate control. We get into an air-conditioned car. We drive to the underground parking of the office. And again, that underground parking is another semi-climate control that's out of nature. You get into an elevator that's air-conditioned. You go upstairs to the office and it's air-conditioned or it's heated. And at the end of the day, we reverse all of this and we come through the crazy Atlanta traffic or wherever you are living in the world, and you pull into your garage, you hit the remote button, the door opens, you pull into your garage, the door closes behind you, now you're in a climate-controlled house. We are just completely no longer in touch with Mother Nature. And we have this huge carbon footprint in the process. And so how do we come back to that simple, us and nature, one with nature, and remembering we are part of the animal kingdom on this planet. We exist, coexist within. We are not masters of nature. Nature is our master.
Right. And that's what we want to really embrace and capture. And as we start driving that thought home and driving that desire to go back to the land and not to conquer it any longer, right? We've conquered so much space, so much land, and we continue to sprawl outward. But really embracing.
We need to conquer our consumptive mindset. So let me share an idea what I've done here at Casa del Fuego with you.
Yeah.
And we have this wonderful property that 10 years ago I bought this land and we built this home to be a place to nurture ourselves and then to nurture our friends. And you've come and you felt the nurturing, but we also wanted to have a place where we could give people an experience. And part of the experience that I created was the Cob Cottage. And this is where I basically have dug some of the dirt from the land, and I've brought in some clay from a clay brick maker who is 4 miles from here, and I've bought local straw from the animal feed place. And with this mixture of clay, straw, sand, everything coming from within a couple of miles of where we actually are, and combining with physical labor, not a lot of tools. Yes, I use a drill gun to mix the clay and the sand with the water to create this soupy mix, and then we put it on the top, and we lay out the straw on the top and pour the soupy mix of clay, sand and straw, mixing it at our feet, dancing on it, and then putting it into these loaves. And right here, right behind, I'm actually adding an extension to the house.
Oh yeah.
Which is my workshop down below, and my wine cellar, and upstairs is Darlene's closet, but I've also put in a bathtub. And so I've the very minimal carbon footprint. The biggest part of my carbon footprint is the 3 or 4 miles I drive into town. But then the glass, that comes from a company who is making glass cabinets, and they've got all these odd shapes left over, or they've got glass that is scratched and they can't sell it, or they've got glass that has been chipped and is no longer viable. Well, those have become my windows. So we must not be limited by our imagination. Let our imagination run to what is possible. And so in the Cob Cottage, I ended up starting out in this very small structure and expanding it from initially a sauna with 16-inch thick walls with a very high R factor. So when it's hot outside, it's cool inside. When it's cold outside, it's a comfortable temperature inside, and I've got a fireplace that is built into the walls to...
So the original intent of the cottage was a sauna?
The original intent was a sauna,
Okay.
but then I thought, well, if I make it a little bit bigger, I can put a massage table in. Then I thought, well, if I make it a little bit bigger, I can put a bed in it. And it has grown, and now it has become a vacation rental place with a gazebo on top, and a dipping pool where we dug a hole to take the materials out. So we have so many abilities with our imagination and with our physical hard work. I put in probably 50 or 60 hours a week into these projects, and it gives me a sense of accomplishment, it gives me a sense of satisfaction, and I have a product at the end of the day to show for it. So these are the amazing components of what we can do.
Cool. You wanna, let's go look at the cottage.
Okay,
So wait a second. So at the cottage, see, I see that. I mean, I've seen it. We can go look at it in a second. But it was smoothed down. So I look at this.
This is the rough.
This is the way the cottage started.
That's right.
And then you put a covering over it.
And then what I ended up doing was, after I created the rough finish, I then created an area that is a clay finish that I call my clay plaster. And again, I do this all with my hands. And then finally, I created my own clay paint, which is a combination of the clay with some lime, hydrated lime, in a powder form, mixed with water. Again, that's why I use my electric drill gun and a paint stirrer. And then I took about 5 pounds of flour, or just everyday ordinary flour, boiling water. Boiled the water, added the flour, again stirred that vigorously with a paint stirrer, and then added that into the mixture, made this whole mixture, and I ended up making a 10-gallon bucket of my paint. And the cost of that was less than $10 in all the material. And the whole idea is the walls have to breathe. So this was a mechanism of a natural plaster, a natural paint on top of these natural walls, so everything breathes, the air moves in and out slowly, and it filters, so the quality of the air inside of the structure is incredible. And it's become a wonderful way of the sound insulation, the temperature insulation, and you feel like you're in this big hug, this big earthen hug.
That's amazing. Have you ever used it as a sauna still? Or is it still functional?
Yes, it's functional as a sauna, it's functional as a massage room, it's functional as a sleeping space where we've got the Airbnb guests, vacation guests who actually come and spend time here on the property.
Oh, wow.
And the carbon footprint is minimal.
Yeah.
If anything, we're going to be carbon negative in the process.
Nice. So at in Wanderland, so one of the ideas is, of course, we talk about the platforms built around trees hanging over over different drop-offs, so that we had a little, like a vista view of it and whatnot. And then there's also the concept of how we build out some more permanent structures, kind of built into the boulders. We have a lot of natural boulders and lots of rock formations.
So one of the things you can do, a Cob structure, and this technique is called Cob Construction. And there are all kinds of workshops all over the world. I went to a workshop in California with Linda Smiley and her husband, where I learned these skills in a matter of about 10 days. And it is so simple. I've seen 6-year-old, 7-year-old kids engaged in the part. But the important element about a Cob construction is you've got to have a good boot and a good hat. And so that boot is your foundation. You've got to keep the moisture out from the bottom coming up, and a good hat is your roof. And you put these big eaves so that you can be passive solar. And the water doesn't run onto the walls, but yes, you can get driving rain, and the rain can hit the walls, but the rain will only put so much moisture, and then Mother Nature will evaporate it off. So these structures will actually last an indefinite period of time. In Pablo's house in New Mexico, there is a structure that is over 1,000 years of continuous habitation. The normal way we build, especially in the United States, with the clapboard, in 100 years, 150 years, it's going to be gone. This stuff will still be there in the centuries to come. It is a simple, easy, you and I can build this with limited skills and a lot of imagination. It's more of being an artist than being a builder.
There you go. There you go.
And it's a process of time. It is, we want a house erected immediately. We want to be in it as quick as possible. But when you actually build it yourself, it's a slow process of, you put in the physical labor, you put in the effort, you put in the sweat equity. The blood, the sweat, the tears all go in, but it's also a structure that is, the process is a very forgiving and a very nurturing. And so you build small structures because it is so labor intense. You don't build these big monstrosities, and you learn to live within those spaces. And it's not about being a caveman. It is, we still have to have the most basic fundamental human right, shelter. But it's having shelter that is a minimal impact on the environment and not an exorbitant cost. When you do this, your biggest cost is your piece of land. You already have the land. And then you find the materials on the land to try and do it as sustainably as possible. And the real value is in the sense of pride and satisfaction. We can't put a price on that.
Well, Neal, I appreciate it. I'm going to get the combination for this for the materials. I would like to get those ingredients. We can probably use that as far as the wall constructions go for the actual building. The actual improvements there. We'll use the platforms for other parts, but I need to get that mix from you.
Good. It's a very simple. It's all online. It's very. There's so many incredible videos out there, and I continuously watch what people are doing, and I learn from what other people, as I'm now also using this ability to share, to teach, to inspire others. And it's a big earthen hug. And now we're also discovering that the Cob Cottage attracts a certain type of vacation renter. There's a certain type of person who actually has come, who is environmentally friendly, who is conscientious about the world we live in, who is looking for how do you pick people up. It's attracting a unique clientele. And this is what is also so fantastic, because it's the conversations. It's not just about a place to sleep. It's about what does that structure inspire in people coming together in the fellowship.
Awesome.
Good luck with this.
Indeed. Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you along for the process, to see us build this out. So it's probably about the summer as my goal is to have it ready to go by the summer. So
Good.
We'll see. I'll keep you abreast of all our progress.
Glad to help.
All right. Come on to Georgia. If I can get you out of the Dominican.
Keep pulling. Keep pulling.
Yeah, if I can get you out
Maybe
of the
end of
Dominican,
COVID,
maybe. Yeah,
we'll find a way.
All right. Thanks, bud.
My pleasure, Jonathan.
Yeah.